So, if you look at my collection, you'll think of a deluxe, right? Yeah, I did not have any deluxes prior to this character. I was a big collector at this time when deluxes were still at its peak, its absolute peak, between 2013 and 2017. So it's nice to have a piece of history of the deluxes with this character right here. This is, if you didn't know, or have not watched a cartoon movies yet, cartoon movies just yet. This is Nelson Blindspot, who was in at the tiebreaker race in the Los Angeles International Speedway. We'll talk about that. He came out in the Radiator Springs Network series for 2014, I believe. Or no, 2013. 13 and 14 kind of similar-ish in terms of series. So yeah, we got Nelson. He's a cameraman from that tiebreaker race, obviously, and he's a pretty tall and somewhat thick SUV. This will be in the Cars universe. In fact, he shares the same model as a few other SUVs with this model, which we'll talk about later. So yeah, here's the package. This is a massive package. This is my first time ever reviewing a deluxe, so I've used my usual stand, which is hold it. This stand I usually use for reviews and like these. But yeah, here's the blister. You got the choking hazard in 3 languages. You got the name tag, which is a render of what the character is in international versions of these packages. At this time in 2013, they stopped doing this in 2017 with car stuff. Which I'm glad they stopped doing this. Kind of looks weird. So you got 3 points on the Mattel logo. He was 5 out of 8 from the series. I can't remember the other 7 because this is in the international packaging. I got this for 950 pesos back in June of 2022. Got the logo, Deluxe, de lujo, especial. I think this is in French. Or no, de lujo, especial. This is in Portuguese. Here's the back of the packaging. The RSN series logo. The shot where McQueen being photobombed by paparazzis in the first race of the film. That was a Blindspot. This will be in the international packages. And a lot of release and an importer and distributor. In fact, so let me zoom in. Rich Prime Global. Of course, Rich Prime Global stopped distributing Disney cars, or for nearly every single mall in the Philippines. I remember back in several months ago, I heard that some malls, a few malls, in fact, carried the 2021 cases of Disney cars. Which I didn't know about because I don't go out as much as I would like to. But that's pretty much it. That's it for all things Disney cars in the Philippines. And that's the booster as well. Let's get to the let's get back to the diecast itself. Now, let's get to the Nelson first, actually, before we look at the camera. So, Nelson shares the same casting as Frank Pinkerton, the Pink SUV, and Charlie Cargo, the two SUVs from the Sergeant's Boot Camp, Echo, while getting credits of the first Cars movie. He's basically sharing the same casting as both of those SUVs, but he is olive green, or at least I think it is olive green, with a kind of a metallic look to it because of the sparkles in it and whatnot. It's got tons of brushes on the bonnet and the roof. So Nelson's looking a bit happy here. The RSN cameraman for RSN. It's kind of like a Ford Explorer look to his front end. And see the obvious thing that this is based off a Ford Explorer as it would be back in the 2000s. Because I heavily recognize the headlights. It kind of looks like a Ford F-150 at the time as well. You got the headset, which is not removable, and it's kind of like a microphone piece is kind of rubber. It's just the rest is hard plastic. You got the doors. Door handles are painted in silver. You got the rope racks. One of them is bent for whatever reason. You got we got the generic SUV rims. Also, there's a chip on the left rear fender. Kind of a shame though, because this is my first of the Deluxe and this Nelson got a chip. And this is where the similarities to a Ford Explorer kind of goes away, because this is basically modeled after any other generic SUV at the time. Here's this license plate, 419TB, as 4TB kind of refers to Radiator Springs Network. Can't remember what it says on top of the plate because it's so small. I think those are the registration numbers. I can't be sure. But you got a rear door handle. Got a door handle in the boot in silver. You got the attachment for the headset. Big meaty rear view mirrors. Side view mirrors. Kind of like, so his expression is kind of like happy but confused at the same time, or at least that's what I think of. His expression was never like this in the film. Oh yeah, I forgot. He appears alongside Chuck Cables in that final race. I'll pull up a picture if I can of him and Chuck in that scene. So he's kind of like looking left and then looking towards the direction all three races are going at. Not sure which part of the tiebreaker race this Nelson will be in. So you guys gotta let me know where he appeared, because I've not watched Cars 1 in several years. So I will have forgotten where this guy will appear by then. So yeah, Nelson diecast. Now let's get to the camera. So I got a broadcasting camera. You got the Racing Sports Network logo. Styled after ESPN as it would look like until they changed the logo in the early 2000s. You got his name. You got the camera ones, which is, I believe this is plastic. Yep, plastic. In fact, this whole camera is plastic with the base being rubber, kind of. This is soft plastic. You gotta be careful with this. You don't want to bend it. This is soft plastic, of course. You got the buttons for the camera. They're all not painted, obviously. It's on the focus. This is a pretty nice little accessory. Because I like releases with its own separate accessory, like the camera right here. So yeah, that's the camera and the diecast. So my first. So yeah, that's the diecast and the accessory. That's my first ever Deluxe as well. So to have a piece of the peak of Deluxes in 2013. So to have a piece of that peak in that was 2013 to late 2016 is an absolute blessing for me. Because I wasn't a hardcore collector at this time in 2013-2016. I only started collecting seriously in 2021 when things started to get a bit better from my 2020. So to have a piece on the collection as well is great. Yes, I missed out on a lot of releases between the peak of collecting Cars diecast at this time, 2013 to the event of the Cars Team merchandise. I also to have a cameraman from the first cards is great as well. Because I cannot genuinely think how expensive this guy will be in. Deluxes at the time in 2013/14 costed, I think, 700 Philippine pesos, which is about less than $10. Or is I think of, because I don't have my converter on right now. Wait, let me look at the converter. Okay, well, it's actually $12, but to have a at less than $20, because at this time I'm recording this is great. Because I do not have any or Deluxes just yet. I do plan though to collect other Deluxes released at this time. So I expect more reviews of those Deluxes, but yeah, that's it for Nelson Blindspot. Hope you enjoyed the review. I think I get a review done this week as well. What you should do is a Wiesball 143 scale Mitsubishi by Montero from the 2000 Dakar Rally. Hopefully we can record that in the future. But yeah, that's it for the Nelson Blindspot review.